What we want you all to know is that you're all in a divine space, in a divine place, even on planet Earth, this thing called the physical realm, this thing called the third dimension, is no more or less divine than any other dimension or interaction of souls that come and birth themselves into the frequency of a particular plane called a planet. There's no need to try to rush and go anywhere else, because you're here. And you're here right now in the best place possible for you to be in, because this is what you have chosen as a place and as a state of mind and a state of existence to exist in. It's no accident that the country that you presently live in is called the United States of America. But we want to emphasize the United States part, because a state is a condition. It's a quality of being. And so when you have United States, that means you have each territory, for the lack of a better word, that is called a state within themselves has a certain condition, a certain characteristic, a certain mindset and frequency that is built and developed and maintained by the presence and quality of the people that live in that state. So you got the state of Wyoming, you got the state of Arkansas, you got the state of Illinois, you got the state of New York, the state of Maryland, the state of Arizona. What are these states? Okay, now we can acknowledge them as geographical positions on a map or on a planet that you traverse the horizontal plane of the land and arrive to, whether you're driving or flying or by train. But let's not only emphasize the location of the state, the physical location of the state, but look at the mind state. Look at the condition of consciousness that governs each state. Now, each state has a particular name. Research the name. Research the history of the state, and research the consciousness that was prevalent when that state was formed. And so then you have the union, like the state of the union, all right, which is all of the states and conditions of the 50 states combined. And then one, like the president, addresses the union and calls it the state of the union. But when the presidents address the state of the union, it's a very limited perspective of the state and condition of being of the citizens. It talks about on the fundamental fiscal levels, the levels of law and legislation, and certain critical key issues that have been in the media. But there's a lot more going on and happening when it comes to the state of the union, the condition of the people, the collective condition of the people's emotions, their mentality, their attitudes, their feelings, all combine to create the climate of the nation called the United States of America. But not just in America, each country is a state, has its own condition, its own quality, its own culture and way of life that everyone and all of its constituents contribute to make up and to formulate. But then they also draw from the existence of the state or the state of existence of the country or land that they live in and become the embodiment of that state and the condition. So we're saying this. Why are we talking about the United States? Because what we have to understand is each individual represents a state. And each individual is comprised of various aspects of themselves, different components of the personality. Different types of personalities exist within one person. Now, don't be misled by the usual common thought that if you have multiple personalities, that you're crazy. Everyone has multiple personalities, but not everyone gives energy and attention or expresses all of the various personalities. But there's no person that is only one way and one personality all the time. You get in moods and you have shifts, and you shift in different moods and modalities based on what you're thinking, what you're perceiving, which create the feeling. And the feeling also influences what you're thinking and what you're perceiving. So, but above and beyond all of that is a state of existence that never wavers, a state of being of your true self that never wavers and always remains the same. And that is the eternal oversoul of all oversouls that we all come forth from. Now, we all individually have an oversoul, an individual oversoul that is much greater than our personality. It has a way wider range of perception of reality. But here in this state of existence that we call third dimensional realm is a particular focus on a particular state of this existence. But we tap into other existences and other states and conditions that our oversoul has expanded and extended itself into. And we call those things dreams. We call those states dreams, or some people call it astral travels, and are traveling through different timelines. Now, we are focused here. If you're listening to me, that means you're focused right here. But there are other aspects of your being, other aspects of mind that tune in and that are tuned in to other streams and other timelines and other existences right now simultaneously as you're focused here. And then when we go to what we call sleep, then the conscious focus here, it dissipates from being focused here and it transfers into an inner focus of the inner planes or other planes of existence that we experience life on. And so we tune into the happenings of another life, another existence. And then sometimes we have what we call reoccurring dreams, where it may not be the same dream over and over again, but it's the same place, the same environment, very similar environment and similar people, and you just feel that it's the continuation of something. But what you're doing is you're tuning into another aspect of a life that your soul is participating in or is aware of. Then you have another personality and another stream. Okay? And it's a blessing to be able to observe that. But it feels like when you think back on it and reflect back on it after you wake up here, that experience, sometimes it feels more intense than other times. Sometimes it feels more real than other times. But it always feels not as real as your presence when you become fully engaged in this dimension again. However, what we want you to know that it is real. But you don't want to have your consciousness spread simultaneously in all of these different lives that exist right now, because you want to focus on what you have going on here. and you trust that there are a more expansive version of your being that is very much clear on all of the multiple existences that are going on. Multiple existences. But you don't have to, with your conscious mind that is focused here, try to grasp all of that. Okay? It is not a requisite. It's not a requirement, because whether you quote unquote grasp all of that or not, it still exists and it's still going on. And so it all depends on your level of experience that you are willing to shift into, to experience the variations of these different aspects. It's how much you are willing to allow. And the human has been programmed in this time and space to fear connecting to other frequencies, other lives, and the fear of being crazy, the fear of losing your mind. But you don't have to fear losing your mind, okay? Because the mind is not something that you can lose. The mind comes from the accumulation of the perceptions, the multiple perceptions of your consistent and multiple experiences here, your interpretation of these things. And then the mind just starts rolling and rolling, observing and reflecting on your experiences at any given time. And then there's certain things in your present environment that may trigger certain memories. You've been, you know, certain songs have popped in your head sometimes. But if you really pay attention and really observe keenly, you'll see that that song that popped in your head seemingly out of nowhere was triggered by something that corresponded to the experience that related or relates to the song that is playing. Whether it's a memory of something that is sentimental to you when you were listening to that song, or maybe the meaning of the song and the words connect to a feeling or emotion that is within you, or something that you're experiencing now. But so the mind is a continuous, ongoing process. It's a process, but it's not you. Okay? The mind is not who you are. It is what you have accumulated here. And what we're talking about is the thinking mind. But there is an aspect of what people also call mind. Some people call spirit. Some people call being. Some people call soul. See, all of these words kind of get meshed together. But clarity has to come from the differentiations of these different levels of being, just so you can have that clarity. But the mind is not you. You are the one experiencing or witnessing the mind go through its process. You can transcend the process of the mind by being the witness and not attaching your emotions to anything that the mind is showing on your screen. Okay? Then you can become more expansive in your awareness and not be compelled to feel the thoughts that are coming from the ideas and the mental pictures that come up. You don't have to create emotions from them. You can transcend all emotion and you can be still. And at that state of existence or insistence, you will find ultimate peace. Now, it can be for the human, on the human level of perception, it could be kind of daunting. It could be a daunting feeling because it feels like you're losing your identity. You're losing yourself. You're not able to grasp nothing. And the human is conditioned to feel secure when they're able to grasp something. But remember, grasping is controlling. But life is a stream like a river, and you can't control the river. You can only experience the river by stepping into it, unless you dam it up. And you build a dam to obstruct the flow of life, but then you become blocked. And then you lose the clarity. The ultimate clarity comes through the flow of the river and riding along with the flow of the river, not trying to resist the river and not trying to dam up the river to control the river, but to allow the river and experience the beauty of the river and the soothingness of the water flowing and carrying you. And then the wonderful healing properties of the waters of life, the flow. So humans ultimately designed here as an experiment. And the experience of the experiment, of course, reports back to the oversoul of all oversouls. But the ultimate intention of the human experience is to allow beings that come here for the human experience to experience the flow while being conscious of itself. Meaning the human being conscious of itself, him or herself, and being conscious that they are conscious, self-reflective, but also being in the flow. Not allowing this self-reflection to get one stuck so deeply into the thought process that one forgets to enjoy the flow of the river, the coolness and refreshingness of the water splashing in one's face. Whew, the wonderful, wonderful river flow of life. So we want all of you to rest within your being. Find rest, find solace, find peace within being, within not knowing all the facts. And when you embrace that you don't know all the facts, then you're now able to know. To know yourself, to know your life, to know being. Meaning you become aware of it, and the knowing is not an intellectual thing, it's an experience. So that you can feel. And that's where the knowing comes in. If you're told about how an apple tastes and how an apple looks, you can only understand that but so much. But when you are able to touch an apple and see it in your hand, and then bite an apple and experience the apple, and then you see how the apple affects your feeling, the condition and state of existence of your body and your mind and your brain, then you come to know that apple. But it's nothing intellectually that you need to discuss unless you're just trying to relay your experience verbally to someone. Or you can just offer them an apple to take a bite so they can share in your experience. Then there's nothing to discuss because now you both are enjoying the apple. We thank Brother Simbi. We call him the mandate man, the level raiser, he calls himself. We thank him for allowing us to use his vessel to come forth with this inspiration and sharing, the sharing of vital information for elevation and continuance. The Simbi, he tends to sometimes think that things should be deeper, more complex to understand. But we're here to share with Simbi and everyone that reality, real truth, true reality is simple. There's nothing complicated about life, and it's not meant to be complicated. The complications, the difficulties, that comes from the human mind. It comes from the being that is having a human experience, allowing the human mind to disconnect its consciousness and its understanding from its true source of being, which is the flow. When you become disconnected from the flow, then you try to make things happen. You try to force things, you manipulate, you want to control the environment. And you do things that end up throwing you more out of balance and out of alignment with the source, which now has become a mystery to you because of the level of disconnection. And you developed a great amnesia in a state of forgetfulness. But when you awaken and arising into your true self, then you will realize that you have not forgotten anything. You just disallowed yourself, for whatever reason that you chose to be yourself. So we're saying it's time to be yourselves. And being yourselves, your true selves, your authentic being, is the ultimate solution to everything. And when you are in that state of being, you understand that there's nothing to be solved because there are no problems. Because the solutions will be immediate to what you thought were problems. Because they will dissipate and disappear because your brilliance, your alignment, your understanding, your understanding, your overstanding will become so clear and profound. And you will walk with that in life. You will live it.